In previous tutorials, we discussed about functions in PHP. We gave a general overview of functions in PHP. Starting from this video, we want to cover functions in depth. We want to see the true power and strength of functions in PHP. It's good you note first of all that PHP has a lot of inbuilt functions. Too many that can perform so many tasks. For example, we have the print function. Yes, the print is a function. You notice these two parentheses right in front of the function name. So, how do you make use of this function? All you just simply do is double quote in between, and anything you want to be printed out, you put it in between the double quotes. If I save this and I refresh this, you see hello world. This does exactly what echo does. But we're not going to go in depth into the print function. Point is, this is an example of a function in PHP. In PHP, we have another function that we use to check the version of PHP our system is currently running on. And that function is as simple as, you guessed it, PHP version. Yeah, but this function is not complete without the echo statement. So you have to ask it to print it out. So once you do this and refresh, you notice 7.2.2. This is actually the version of PHP on my PC. We have another powerful function that I would like to show you. So all I'll just do is erase echo, erase version, and replace it with info. Yes, that is the name of the function, the PHP info function. And what does this function do? If I save this and I refresh this, you notice that it contains a lot of information about the PHP running on our system and our system information itself. A word of caution, you have to be careful when making use of this particular function. So point is, PHP has a lot of functions that you can use to do so many things. But a problem arises when you need a particular function and you realize that PHP does not have such function. So what do? You create your own function. We've already covered how to create functions in the previous video tutorials that gave us an overview of functions in PHP. But let us remind ourselves. So we first of all say function, which is a keyword, followed by the name of the function you choose, followed by the parenthesis, which contains the parameter or parameters, or you could say arguments that we want to pass to our function. This is then followed by the curly bracket, in which we specify the instructions we want our function to actually carry out. Now this is the format for creating a function. At this point now, we want to create a function. Yes, we want to create a multiplication table function. Without wasting much time, I would like to get started. So remember what we need to do. We say function first of all. I didn't spell this right, so I'll go back and correct that. This will be followed by the function name. I want to name this multiplication underscore table. Fair enough. That is the name of my function. Now I want my function to accept one parameter, and the parameter in this case will be num. Fair enough, eh? So after this would be the curly bracket, inside of which our actions go in there. So I will space this out a little bit so that this will be very clear to you guys. I want to make use of the for loop. So I would say for followed by the parenthesis. Now I have to specify a starting point. So I'll say counter is equal to 1. My multiplication table actually needs a counter, something that will count from 1 to maybe 12, for example. So this will be followed by the condition, and the condition in this case will be that counter is less than or equal to 12. Fair enough, this should be a reminder, and this should be followed by a modification expression. In this case, business as usual, counter plus plus. Fair enough? Alright. So in the case that this condition is met, what should happen? Simple. PHP, please, I need you to echo. Echo what? I need you to echo the number in num, say times, and then I want to see the value for counter, and then equals to. Yes, this will come out just nicely. And then I'll concatenate this with actually the mathematical calculation of num by counter. Fair enough. And as usual, I'm going to need the line break, so I'm going to introduce the HTML's line break. Don't forget to put this within the double quotes. In that case, I can end the statement. Fair enough. Any errors? I don't think so. This looks good. Now, for us to confirm if this is actually fine, we'll need to call the function. So since I am too lazy to type, I'll just come here, copy this, come here, paste it right here, and then do this as usual, calling the function. So in between this parentheses, I will need to specify a number because this function is actually expecting me to pass something here. So let me pass 23. I'll save this and then I'll refresh it right here, and you notice that whoa, we got 23 times 1 to 23 times 12. So if I want to check for any table, all I need to do is come to my program right here and then put any number, say table of 7. I'll save that, refresh that, and everything looks just good. But I still have a problem here. These numbers are too restricted, like they are restricted from 1 to 12. What if I want more? Say I want to check from 7 times 1 to 7 times 20 or to 7 times 1000. How do I take care of that? I will need to introduce another argument here, and in this case I'm going to create a variable count. So which means this function will be expecting 2 arguments. Fair enough. So I still need to do something with this. The variable count has to be part of the condition for the for loop. So this 12 will be replaced by the variable count. Fair enough. So here, let me specify that I want it to be 20. So table of 7, 20 times. From 7 times 1 to 7 times 20. So I'll just save this and then come right here and refresh this, and whoa, I've got 7 times 1 to 7 times 20. So let me just come here, change this to 100, change this to 34. I save this. I'm expecting 100 times 1 to 100 times 34. If I refresh this, everything looks good. So this is how simple it is. This is just like a reminder as to how we create a function right here and call the function right here. Fair enough and simple enough. So this is the basics of a function. In the next video, we'll be talking about returning a value or an array through a function in PHP. You need to learn this, so please come join me quickly in the next video tutorial.